Ready to record. May I fire? Yes, I didn't know collecting data could be this much fun. So, is it possible then that there's something inside of this? After thousands of years, scientists have finally found the tomb of Moses. I have questions about the end of the story of Moses. So, okay, if there is a historical Moses, where is this guy? I mean, where was he buried? According to biblical tradition, he ended on the other side of the valley and he dies. Where? At Mount Nebo. The fact that a man like Moses, who holds significance in not just Christianity but other religions, died and his burial place was hidden is a mystery that has puzzled the minds of people for centuries. What is at this site? Here at this site, we have the tomb of Moses. There's a tomb here, yes, of Moses. This is why the moment these scientists stumbled upon this 2,000-year-old tomb, many of them were overcome with emotion as they stood in disbelief before the sealed tomb of Moses. But what exactly lies inside this ancient tomb? What secrets have been preserved for millennia, untouched by time? Join us as we look into the mysteries surrounding this extraordinary discovery and whether what they discovered confirms what we already know about the significance of Moses' life. Scientists led by Josh Gates were deeply emotional when they announced what seemed impossible: the discovery of Moses' sealed tomb, untouched for thousands of years. The reason why they became emotional might not really make sense to you until you know the kind of person Moses was. Before understanding why this discovery affected the scientists so much, it's important to look back at Moses' remarkable life. Moses is a central figure in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, three of the world's largest religions. He was born in ancient Egypt during a time when the Pharaoh ordered the death of all newborn Hebrew boys to control their population. In a desperate move, his mother placed him in a basket and sent him down the Nile River, hoping to save his life. Moses was found by Pharaoh's daughter, who adopted him and raised him in the royal palace. But things took an interesting turn from here. Despite growing up with the privileges of royalty, Moses always remembered his Hebrew roots. When he was 40, he killed an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew slave, forcing him to flee Egypt to avoid punishment. Moses lived quietly in the land of Midian for 40 years, where he married Zipporah, the daughter of a local priest, and worked as a shepherd. However, his life changed dramatically when he encountered a burning bush on Mount Horeb, where God spoke to him and told him to return to Egypt to free the Israelites from slavery. Moses returned to Egypt and, with the help of his brother Aaron, demanded that Pharaoh let the Israelites go. When Pharaoh refused, God sent a series of 10 plagues to punish Egypt, from turning the Nile into blood to sending swarms of locusts and covering the land in darkness. The final plague, the death of every firstborn son, including Pharaoh's sons, finally convinced the Pharaoh to release the Israelites. Before the final plague struck Egypt, Moses gave the Israelites a key instruction: mark their doorposts with lamb's blood. This act would protect them from the angel of death, which would pass over their homes and spare their firstborn children. This act of faith led to the establishment of Passover, a central tradition in Jewish life. When Pharaoh's own son died in the final plague, he finally gave in and allowed the Israelites to leave Egypt. This moment, around 1250 BC, marked the start of the Exodus. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt toward the Promised Land. But soon after, Pharaoh regretted his decision and sent his army after them. Trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's forces, the Israelites were desperate, but once again God intervened. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the waters parted, creating a path for the Israelites to escape. As they crossed to safety, the waters closed in on the Egyptian army, drowning them and securing the Israelites' freedom. With Egypt behind them, Moses led the Israelites through the harsh desert. Their journey was long and difficult. At Mount Sinai, God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, which became the foundation of Jewish law. Despite these divine signs, the Israelites often struggled with faith and disobedience, resulting in 40 years of wandering in the desert. During this time, Moses continued to guide them, settling disputes and teaching them God's laws. Miracles followed, like manna from heaven to feed them and water drawn from a rock. As the 40 years drew to a close, Moses was allowed to see the Promised Land from the top of Mount Nebo. However, because of a previous act of disobedience at the waters of Meribah, Moses was not allowed to enter. All of these backstories should now help you understand why his place of burial is hidden in such a deep mystery. So let's look at how the tomb was discovered. According to the Bible, Moses died on Mount Nebo and God buried him in a secret place around 1271 BC. The mystery of Moses' burial has intrigued people for centuries because of his importance, as we have already discussed. If a reader of the first 4 books of the Torah still has any doubts about Moses' paramount importance to Israel's history, the book of Deuteronomy makes it undeniably clear. Now, fast forward to the present. Josh Gates and his team may have discovered Moses' long-lost tomb. One site of particular interest is Nabi Musa, nestled in the Judean desert near the Dead Sea. For centuries, this site has held religious significance, especially in Islamic tradition, where Moses, known as Musa in Arabic, is revered as a prophet. Muslims believe Nabi Musa to be his final resting place. The site has deep connections to Moses, who is mentioned more times in the Quran than any other prophet. His story in Islam shares many similarities with the biblical account: his birth, his escape from Pharaoh's decree, and his role in leading the Israelites out of Egypt. The Nabi Musa site became a place of religious importance around 1269 AD, and ever since it has been associated with Moses' final chapter in Islamic tradition. In the distance, you see Nabi Musa, a mosque that is 700 years old, fortified to keep intruders from coming in. The connection between this sacred site and the biblical Moses continues to captivate scholars and believers alike. During the Mamluk Sultanate, Sultan Baybars established the shrine and mosque at Nabi Musa to honor the Prophet Moses. This act was more than just a sign of respect; it cemented the site's importance in Islamic tradition. The construction of the shrine initiated a centuries-old pilgrimage tradition, a practice that continues to this day. One of the most significant events tied to the site is the annual Nabi Musa festival, a pilgrimage from Jerusalem to the shrine. The festival is traditionally linked to the celebration of Laylat al-Miraj, commemorating the Prophet Muhammad's night journey and ascension to heaven. This vibrant festival demonstrates the lasting legacy of Moses in Islamic thought, as pilgrims honor his life by visiting this sacred place. Nabi Musa is not just a historical site, but it is a physical and spiritual link to the story of Moses. Architecturally, it reflects the medieval Islamic style, featuring a mosque, shrine, and accommodations for pilgrims, all preserved and restored over the centuries. The shrine itself is simple but majestic, offering a quiet space for reflection amid the stark desert landscape, which only adds to its mystical aura. But is Nabi Musa really Moses' final resting place? Other sites, such as Jebel Harun, also claim this honor. Located near Petra in modern-day Jordan, Jebel Harun is believed to be the burial place of Moses' brother, Aaron. Some suggest that Moses himself could be buried nearby, making this mountain a site of great religious and historical significance. Jebel Harun, or Aaron's Mountain, rises 4,500 feet above sea level, towering over the Petra region. This site has drawn pilgrims for centuries, attracting Jews, Christians, and Muslims, each with their own traditions tied to the sacred peak. At the summit stands a white dome mosque built in the 14th century, marking Aaron's believed resting place. The journey to the top is challenging and requires stamina, but for those who reach it, the reward is more than the stunning views of the Petra landscape. It's the profound sense of spiritual connection to a place of deep historical and religious importance. The mosque on Jebel Harun, with its simple yet striking white dome, marks the spot where Aaron, the brother of Moses, is believed to be buried. The modest structure consists of a single room and a small courtyard, but its religious significance far outweighs its size. Jebel Harun is revered in Jewish, Christian, and Muslim traditions as Aaron's resting place. According to the Torah, Aaron died and was buried at a location referred to as Mount Hor Mosera. Though interpretations vary, the Jewish historian Josephus, in the 1st century AD, identified the mountain near Petra as Mount Hor, the site of Aaron's death. This belief was later embraced by Christians who built a Byzantine monastery there, establishing it as a pilgrimage destination. In Islamic tradition, Aaron, known as Harun, is also highly revered. He is acknowledged in the Quran as a prophet who aided his brother Moses in leading the Israelites. The current mosque, built during the Mamluk era in the early 14th century, stands atop the mountain as a sacred place for Muslims. However, long before the mosque, a Christian monastery stood here, offering refuge for travelers and pilgrims. Today, the ruins of that monastery can still be seen near the peak, a testament to the mountain's long history as a holy site. The interior of the mosque is simple, with a small room beneath the dome serving as a shrine to Aaron. An inscription above the door notes the mosque's last renovation in 1320 AD, maintaining the modest charm that invites visitors to reflect on the site's spiritual importance. Another significant location often associated with Moses is Mount Nebo, widely regarded as his final resting place. Mount Nebo, located in Jordan and rising about 2,300 feet above sea level, is rich with biblical significance.